Hi guys, can you hear me well? Cool, thank you. Okay. Sorry for some delay. Please put your hands up who already familiar with the DeFi strategies, Yearn strategies, or implemented one. Okay. Not so many, but a few, right? So you guys will help us to understand what's going on, and we'll ask questions anyway. Yes, let's start. So those who can do, those who can teach. You know this. It's a Bernard show. And I'm Alex. I'm developer and DAO labor in several DAOs, GTON Capital DAO and Lobster DAO. You probably know about Lobster chat with the DeFi researchers. So this is a link to my Twitter. And I can't build DeFi Yearn strategies yet. So let's learn how to build DeFi strategies today. The workshop will have 3 parts with 2 breaks for 20 minutes. First part will be about DeFi strategies in general, Yearn Finance, vaults, and different examples. Here we'll work together in terms of like what kind of strategies we can build. The part 2 will be HardHat. Who is familiar with HardHat? So, okay, the half is familiar. So another half, it will be helpful for you to use it. It's a very powerful framework and tool for smart contract development, and especially test-driven development, because they have good integration with the test frameworks, environments. And the part 3 will be mocking Yearn strategies with Solidity. And so what we need for the workshop, especially for the part 2 and part 3, laptop, Node.js, attention and engagement. So let's start. What is DeFi strategy? Who knows? Who can explain? Like, simple explanation. Yeah, you can explain. Okay, good. It's actually a good definition. So basically, DeFi strategies can be considered as a flow, and with this flow, we always have some like initial point where user interacting with the smart contracts, with funds. Such smart contracts they called vault. So we'll consider vaults and the basic interface of vaults, and the user is interacting with vaults. So basically, vaults is also keeping the funds from the user and somehow manage it. The vaults is communicating with the strategy. So strategy is basically the controller, which is trying to maximize yield and do some kind of automation, working with the user funds, right? So it's basically like another component of the flow, and to automate some operations, because there is no auto triggers within the smart contracts. Blockchain is a closed system. We need keeper oracles. So keeper oracles, they are mostly doing automation. Those are external operators, external machines, which are triggering smart contracts to execute some operations, right? And we will consider some examples later. And the most important part for the DeFi strategies is basically DApp. So DApp, I mean like something which is generating money. And you can see here we have money from the thin air. Basically, this is how DeFi works. Most often, the strategies around DeFi, they are somehow connected with the inflation. Of course, it's the money from the Of course, it's the money from the thin air because there is inflation. But it's just joke here, because sometimes the money can be generated from the trading activity, from the borrowing, lending, and stuff. But anyway, we can call it thin air. So basically, strategy is communicating with the DApp, and then the profit, the money, is going to the user. Then he is withdrawing the funds, right? So basically, this is all DeFi strategies can be explained by this framework. So the 3 main components here. And who knows what is curve finance? Yeah, so we will talk about many different types of strategies, but still, Yearn Finance is mostly using the curve as a main source of DApp with a Mooney, right? So this is basically curve at the moment. And curve is an IMM, like an automated market maker, where you can exchange semi-pegged assets. Semi-pegged can be a stable coins or synthetic assets or wrapped assets with pegged to the same value, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever. And we have pools where both assets are can be exchanged to each other. And the curve formula is good for semi-pegged assets. Why? Just because it's not parabolic. There is no parabolic bonding curve. It means that the slippage for exchanging semi-pegged assets is pretty low, and there is a parameter. If you're increasing it, the slope is going to flat until rug pull. Because if there will be a huge imbalance between both tokens, there will be a huge imbalance in terms of price. So curve is basically an exchange. So people, they can provide some liquidity in stable coins, and they can withdraw liquidity in some proportion. Depends on how many token A, for example, USDT and USDC within the pool. Before the token of the curve has its own governance token, which is CRV. Before that, it was just an exchange where people, exchanged stablecoin to each other. But after some time, they created the governance token, which is CRV, and the governance token is incentivizing people to provide more and more liquidity in that pools. So basically, before the CRV token, the whole incentive to provide liquidity on curve was trading rewards. Like you have taxation for any trade operation, and if you're a liquidity provider, if you're putting the liquidity into curve, you can be rewarded in that. After CRV, some pools they have some emission, which is designated to specific pools, and it is much more popular way to incentivize people to provide liquidity. And the question here is the DeFi strategy with curve is basically if you have stablecoin, you can just put it and you are farming CRV, right? And you are also mining the trading fees. So basically, it is very simple strategy. Just you have stablecoin, you put it, and you are earning rewards. But curve has extra incentive approach. The CRV token is a governance token. It has its main utility is basically governance. And one example of governance is actually the decisions about in which pool which proportion of CRV must be distributed, right? So if you have CRV, if you have majority of CRV, you can actually boost the pools you are if in favor. For example, if you are a fan of meme coin, you can boost some rewards in that pool, and it's incentivize people to bring more liquidity in that pool, which is kind of good. So of course it is very strange system because you have kind of worthless governance token, which is the main function is to somehow control how to redistribute this the same token, right? But it is working good, especially in the beginning. For most of the stable coins, it was kind of silver bullet to actually find product market fit. For most of the stable coins, I have some experience with the creating of stable coins. Probably you heard about the USDN, Neutrino protocol. So I can say that the changes, the fundamental changes for the Neutrino protocol was after CRV, after listing on Curve, and then there were a lot of liquidity added within short time. So this approach works as a liquidity bootstrap thing. And because CRV has this functionality, like you can vote for each pool must have more and more profits. They also have some incentive approach how to prevent people to always constantly sell this token. So it's basically an approach. There some CRV tokens can be locked for different times, for different vesting periods, like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, whatever. And then you are locking your farmed governance token. You are actually increasing the way how much you can get extra CRV for the providing liquidity. So basically, if you are accumulating CRV and not selling it, and even more, you are locking it into governance, you have boost for your rewards. And the basic strategy of Yearn, as we can see shortly, we will see that most of the pools are somehow connected to the classical Yearn farming strategy and the automation of this procedure, like automation of CRV token lock to boost the liquidity. And so this is basically how it works. What's next? Let's go to the Yearn Finance, and here you will find the vaults, right? We were talking about vaults. It's an entry point for any user to do something. And here we will find on the official Yearn Finance website a lot of pools for different assets. I mentioned USDN, so it's here. Pretty good APR. And here we can see the pools. So of course there are stable coins and also another volatile assets, but you see the icon of curve on most of them. Let me make it bigger. You see it, right? So this icon means that this pool somehow working with the curve. So let's look at the Terra, for example. Let's open it. Yearn has a good navigation because then you open the vault. You can check everything. You can check how many assets here. This is not good. And you can check how it works. You can deposit. You can withdraw. So basic operations are here, right? And of course, before doing something, you have to approve the token. So every smart contract, every vault smart contract, which is on the mainnet, can be easily checked by the following the Ether scan. So here you can find the source code of the vault. So vault is a smart contract. We can read the code. Unfortunately, most of the pools, they are using Viper. I'm not familiar with Viper, but we will consider how to build the strategy on Solidity, of course, later. But a lot of existing pools, they're using Viper. And here we can see Vault contract and its main functions. So we have read functions, what we can do with the pool. Most often, those are functions which let you to use the vaults as a simple token, as a ERC20 token. You can transfer it, you can do whatever you want. So basically, it is a good opportunity for project builders to somehow reuse the existing vault in different types of another protocols. Like use it as a collateral for lending or whatever. Why? Just because the interface for the vault is the same as ERC20 token. So you have allowance, you have total supply, you have balance of, you have decimal, all the basic functions we have for ERC20 token. So one of the most important thing is if you are using one account and you are depositing into Curve and you wanna change your account, you don't have to withdraw and do some stuff. You can just transfer the token and basically it works. Also, this token can be easily shown by services like Zerion or Debunk. So it's a part of the ecosystem. So here in the vault, we also have some extra functions which are connected to the strategy, which are connected to the admin functions. Of course, every vault they have some admin functions to prevent, I don't know, exploits, to stop something, and it is okay in DeFi. Most of the things are working via multisig, so vaults can be also working like this. So basically, yeah, Vault is a smart contract, and user is interacting with it. how we can see it on the example. One of the Yearn vaults is Ethereum vault, and the modern version of Yearn, Yearn v2, is letting you to use the Ethereum, which is as a funds of the vault, within several strategies at the same time. So basically, the new versions of Yearn, they let you to build not only one strategy for one vault. So this is somehow accumulating more and more funds within one type of vaults, and you can easily switch between different strategies after that. So no need for users to change the vaults for that. So you can easily migrate and optimize the strategies. This is a good example. And let's look how this Ethereum vault can actually works. Any idea how it can be implemented? Like, if you know the DeFi, if you know how you can generate rewards with Ethereum, like suggest any strategy with the Ethereum, with Yearn. Like how to generate money from Ethereum if you have it. Anyone? Huh? Lend? So yeah, or MakerDAO, right? So yes, one of the strategy is basically if you have Ethereum, you can use it as a collateral to mint the DAI, and then you have DAI. It's a stable coin pegged to $1. You can put it into the curve, and curve is generating you CRV, like farming rewards, and then they are selling back to the Ethereum, and then it's going back to the user. So basic strategy here, right? 1 second. So yeah, MakerDAO is a lending protocol which is issuing stablecoin pegged to $1. So it's easy to change the Ethereum to DAI with some over-collateralization, of course, and then generate reward. But it's not only one strategy. Who knows another strategy on Curve? You know? No one knows. Let's open the Yearn Finance and see, do we have some vaults with Ethereum? Let's see. Okay, we have some strategy with Ethereum, and so we have another strategy with Ethereum. We can use a pool on the Curve Finance. Let's open the Curve Finance, and we'll figure out what kind of strategy is here for Ethereum. Because with the lending, we already understood how it works, but it's only one. And we always have to choose huh? Yes, but what kind of pool? Like any example? Yeah. So you have Ethereum. You have Ethereum. Like you have nothing more. And with Ethereum, we have this one. You see, this is pool for Ethereum and stake Ethereum with Yearn Finance. Let me make it a bit bigger. You see? So this is as I told you before, on Curve we have pools for the same pegged assets. And even on Ethereum, we have many versions of Ethereum. It sounds funny, but it's honest true. We have synthetic Ethereum, we have staked Ethereum, we have another version of different, wrapped Ethereum, whatever. We have a lot of versions of Ethereum on Ethereum chain. Sounds strange, especially try to explain that for non-DeFi or non-crypto people, and they will ask you questions like, why? What is going on? But this is like different approach. Stake Ethereum is basically an Ethereum which will be used in the Ethereum 2.0, and it's staked by the Yearn DeFi Finance, a smart contract, and in exchange they have wrapped or locked version of Ethereum. So basically, this is an approach how you can build two types of Ethereum, and you can, like anyone who has Ethereum and stake Ethereum or just Ethereum, they can stake it into the Curve, and Curve has rewards. So we can see it here. We can see that we have actually a lot, almost 1 million Ethereums and staked Ethereums on the Curve. this pool is balanced. I mean, the same amount of Ethereum and stake Ethereum within the pool. And here we have some incentives. Let's see how much incentives are for Ethereum. 1 sec. So it is here. So we have 1% in CRV, and for Ethereum it's okay because Ethereum is not stable coin; it's a volatile asset. You are taking risk, so this is a way how you can make rewards. And yes, the second approach for the Yearn strategy is you have Ethereum, for example, 10 Ethereum. You are sending that to the vault. Vault is sending this Ethereum into the Curve Finance, and 5 Ethereum exchanging to the staked Ethereum on the Curve Finance, and then you have your position within the curve. If you have the position on the curve, you have rewards. Those rewards are boosting by locked CRV by the pool, because pool is somehow connecting all people who are providing liquidity for this pool, and we are boosting liquidity. So this is a difference between the simple strategy if you have Ethereum, just put it into the curve, or the strategy then you have Ethereum, put it into Yearn and get rewards. So guys, do you have any questions here? Yes, you can ask.
How much gas would be involved in constructing this strategy?
For constructing the strategy?
Yes, to get into this position.
It depends on the number of operations you are doing, because ZAP functionality is already implemented. You don't have to implement it. It's pretty optimized by Zapper. So ZAP functionality, which is automating this procedure, is already implemented. But it depends. Depends on how exactly you are interacting. On slide back, this one. This one. So with each strategy, we have some functionality around improvements of the positions. And before the liquidation happens, you have to rebalance. You have to withdraw some liquidity from the maker, because it should be tracked by some keeper oracles. It should be tracked by some watchers, because you don't have to be in this situation. But pools, they have, they have some issues with the of course exploits, with the protocol hacks and like flash loans. Of course, it will be coded as a resolution strategy. Probably a year ago, new vaults were hacked. The DAI vault were hacked for like 5 millions or something, and of course, the shit happens. So what can I say? Any vaults, they have any strategists and vaults, they have admin functionality. We'll see those functions, how to manage the operations, how to keep some balance like liquid, how to put it back into the system. So it's basically up to developers, up to strategists, how to manage that. Any more questions? If there is no more questions, let's look at the Finematics. Who is familiar with Finematics? Unfortunately, only half of you. I'm highly recommended to subscribe for this channel, because most of the popular DeFi protocols, DeFi concepts and primitives easily explained here, and for me, it's like it's a best way to actually onboard into new strategies, into new type of protocols, and have a fresh view on something. So here on Finematics we have Yearn Finance, and It's a bit old video about Yearn Finance. We have actually 2 videos about how Vaults works and the Yearn Finance. And the Yearn started before the curve. So today we are speaking about curve, we are speaking about boosting APR and stuff, but Yearn started before curve. And if you are interested in how it started, let's look at this video, and then we will talk a bit more about Vaults and the smart contracts of Vaults. Sorry, I didn't pay for for YouTube Premium.
All about. You'll find out all of this and more in this video. Before we begin, if you're interested in learning more about decentralized finance, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Okay, let's start with what Yearn Finance is all about. The main element of Yearn Finance is the Yearn or Yearn protocol. The Yearn protocol, in essence, is a yield optimizer that focuses on maximizing DeFi capabilities by automatically switching between different lending protocols. Before we explain the mechanism of the protocol itself, let's see how Yearn came into existence. In early 2020, the author of the Yearn protocol, Andrei Kronier, started looking into automating his strategy for choosing the highest paying lending protocol for his stablecoins. Before the first iteration of the protocol, Andrei had to wake up every day and manually check which protocol pays the best APY on that day and consider moving his funds to that protocol. There were always a few options available at the time, such as Compound, Aave, Fulcrum, or DYDX. This manual work.
So we'll have a pause here. Sorry again. We'll make a pause here, and how it's actually started. So the Yearn Finance created by Andrei Kronier, right? And the simple explanation, of course, oversimplified explanation is it started because there are many manual operations. If you're gonna maximize yield, you have to manually select the most profitable protocol for your assets, and then deposit, then again withdraw, and then again deposit, and it is basically manual operations. And at that time, early 2020, it were like only a few protocols where you can do it. So basically, those protocols are about lending. So if you are borrowing or lending assets, if you are borrowing, you are generating some rewards for those who are lending. So you can choose where the best interest rate for your assets in DeFi. And of course, it is not something which is good for developer to manually switch between the protocols. So the basic strategy was, let's automate it, right? And this is how Yearn started. Who already knew this? Okay, only a few of you, right? But right now, Yearn is completely different. But the story is about the choosing different protocols for optimizing yields.
Quickly became repetitive and boring, so Andrei started coding the first version of the Yearn protocol to automate the whole process of choosing the most optimal strategy for his stablecoins. The protocol, in essence, creates a pool for each stablecoin. By depositing a stablecoin to a pool, the user receives their Y tokens that are yield-bearing equivalents of the coin that was deposited. For example, if a user deposits DAI, the protocol issues Y DAI. The DAI that is pulled together can then be moved between different lending protocols to always maximize the yield. For instance, if Aave offers a better yield on DAI than Compound, the Yearn protocol can decide to move all or some of the DAI to Aave. The protocol checks if there is a better yield available at the time a user deposits or withdraws money from the pool, triggering a rebalance of the pool if necessary. If a user wants to withdraw their initial DAI plus accrued interest, they can redeem their Y DAI and receive the underlying DAI. One thing that the protocol always assures is to never swap the initially deposited stablecoin to a different stablecoin, even if there is a higher yield available. So for example, if a user deposits DAI, the protocol would never swap it to USDC, even if USDC has a higher yield. This is because most users want to withdraw the same stablecoins as they initially deposited. After the initial version of the protocol was completed, Andre decided to open it up to more people who were also interested in automating their yield strategies. From the protocol's perspective, adding more funds to the pool was beneficial as there were more opportunities for triggering rebalances, with more deposits and withdrawals taking place. After the initial warm welcome by the community, Andre started working on improving the protocol itself. As the money in the pools started growing, some of the previously obvious strategies, like moving coins into the highest paying lending protocol, stopped working. Now, the protocol had to also anticipate what would happen to the APY if a large amount of funds are moved in. So it would have to also optimize splitting funds between different protocols and choose the most optimal solution. At this point, Andre also started working with Curve on the YCRV liquidity pool. YCRV pool contains the following Y tokens: YDAI, YUSDC, YUSDT, and YTUSD, making it easy to swap between the Y tokens without unwrapping them into their underlying tokens. By depositing stable coins to the YCRV pool, the users can earn trading fees for providing liquidity, on top of getting a return on their yield-bearing Y tokens. Up to this point, finding out what the best APY on a given stablecoin is was fairly easy. This changed dramatically with the introduction of liquidity mining, with Compound's comp token distribution as a prime example. The comp token distribution was also pretty much the time when all the yield farming hype started. If you need a recap on yield farming and liquidity mining, you can check out this video here. Comp farming basically changed the whole landscape of finding the best yield, and checking the APY of a deposit was no longer sufficient. To find out the actual yield, you would have to add up all the extra tokens that were being distributed. Finding the best strategies became more and more complex. With all the yield farming craze going on, Andre, together with the Yearn community, started working on another idea: vaults. Yearn vaults, in essence, are pools of funds with an associated strategy for maximizing returns on the asset in the vault. Vault strategies are more active than just lending out coins. In fact, most vault strategies can do multiple things to maximize the returns, such as farming other tokens and selling them for profit, providing liquidity, or borrowing stable coins. Each vault follows a strategy that is voted in by the Yearn community. The full explanation of the vault's mechanism is outside of the scope of this video, but I'll make another one that focuses just on this super interesting topic, so make sure you subscribe to this channel to stay in the loop. Now, let's talk about the Yearn's token, YFI. To further decentralize the Yearn protocol and allow other people to make meaningful decisions on the future of the protocol, Andre decided to distribute a governance token to the Yearn community. The token distribution was focused on having a fair launch and rewarding the Yearn community. To ensure a fair launch, the YFI token had no pre-mine, no VC's allocation, and even no team reward. All the tokens were distributed to the users of the protocol. A 9-day-long token distribution started with allocating 10,000 YFI tokens to the liquidity providers of the YCRV pool. The LPs had to stake their YCRV LP tokens to receive YFI rewards. Shortly after, 2 more balancer pools were added, with 10,000 tokens each, totaling 30,000 Wi-Fi tokens. Regardless of a disclaimer that the Wi-Fi token has zero financial value, the money started flowing into the incentivized pools, topping $600 million in locked value. Also, the Wi-Fi token itself started rapidly appreciating in value. This created additional risk as the author of the protocol was in control of the governance admin key before the governance went live. This key could potentially be used to create more Wi-Fi tokens, which would result in collapsing the price of Wi-Fi. This was quickly fixed by changing the single admin key to a multi-sig key, requiring multiple signers from the DeFi Yearn community. The Wi-Fi token, as designed, is extensively used in the Yearn governance to decide on the future of the protocol, with one of the most active and loyal communities in the whole DeFi space. There's also a lot of speculation on the potential future revenue from the Wi-Fi tokens that fuels the price appreciation. The Wi-Fi token increased in value from around $6 when it started trading to over $30,000 per token less than 2 months later, pretty much a parabolic run. Although the Yearn protocol and most recently the vaults are at the core of the Yearn Finance ecosystem, there are also other services such as YSwap, YTrade, YBorrow, and YInsure that are outside of the scope of this video. You can look them up by checking some of the links I'll put in the description box below. Yearn is clearly one of the most interesting protocols in the...
Okay guys, this is how it started. This is how it was originally created. The idea is simple, right? To automate the different strategies, not by manual switching between the profitable dApps, but somehow automated and wrap the original asset. And I have some questions to you guys. Do you know? Like the case, it was a year ago about the new pool being hacked. Like how they solved this issue with the user funds? Who knows? You remember? Okay, but they lost some money from the pool. How they recovered the pool? They actually recovered it. Yeah, if you don't know, it was simple. In this video, as you can see, the kinematics explain that only 30,000 Yearn issued at the time, but after this hack, people they lost like 5 million. So the Yearn community they decided to issue more assets. Use them as a collateral in MakerDAO because it has this the pool, and issue using Yearn as a collateral, Wi-Fi as a collateral, issue 5 million DAI and then recover user funds. So if you don't know, this is also possible. Yeah, it was a funny example because it is only works if the protocol is really accepted by the crypto community, and it has the functionality to be as a collateral on the MakerDAO. But yeah, it was solved easy and nicely. What? Any questions? You have no questions, right? So. What is the main idea of the vaults? What is the main idea of the strategies? What do you think? Around what Andrew is originally created it? And this thing is actually, if you are staking the assets, you are getting back the same assets with the rewards. And rewards are also in these assets. So this is the main idea for the all strategies. You have to somehow manage to exchange rewards into the same assets which was staked in. This is the main idea. And another question to you guys, what do you think, what's the difference between liquidity mining and liquidity farming? Who knows this difference? It's basically two different things. Who knows? Who is ready to answer? So the difference between liquidity mining and liquidity farming is mining means that if you are providing the token on the IMM, you are generating rewards which are coming from the transactions, like 0.3% from the uni pools or different fees from the curve. You are mining your rewards. So the more volume, the more operation within the pool, the more money you are earning as rewards. And of course, you can exchange the rewards on any assets within the pool. Like if you are providing liquidity to the Ethereum and stake Ethereum, and there is rewards which is coming as one or another token, depends on the trade side. You can easily exchange one or Ethereum to Ethereum or Ethereum to Ethereum. So you can fix your profits in Ethereum. You are providing Ethereum liquidity, you are fixing profits in Ethereum, which is okay. But this is liquidity mining thing, right? If you have liquidity farming, most often you have rewards in the form of new token. So we have the new token in the system. Before we have only two, like token A, token B, and you provide liquidity. With the liquidity farming, you have free token. You have a new one which is coming as a reward. And the biggest thing, the biggest challenge is you have to implement the Yearn strategy for liquidity farming, not mining, because with mining it's easy. You exchange back and you are doing rewards. But with liquidity mining, because then you have Ethereum, you have staked Ethereum, and you are getting some coin, like reward coin. You have to somehow, by the strategy, automate the procedure. Then your rewards in the pool, in the vault, will be exchanged to the vault token, to the Ethereum. So you need liquidity with the farming token and some liquid assets. It can be even Ethereum or USDC or whatever, which has proxy liquidity to the Ethereum. So this is the biggest challenge, and this is why liquidity mining, liquidity farming are different for strategists, and for different approaches. You have to change the way how you are automated. So let's go next. Let's talk about vaults. If you open the GitHub with the or documentation, the documentation is here. So on the GitHub, you can find the base strategy and the all things about which methods, public methods, you have to implement to let your strategy works. It is on the GitHub Yearn Brownie strategy mix. So you can find this easy. And here they have a simple explanation, the vault functionality. So then we opened vault already. For example, here, right? We open it. We notice a lot of functions, and of course, some of the functions are inherited from the ERC20 interface, from the admin managed interface. But here, for the user perspective, we need only a couple of functionality. First of all, Alice must approve the token to be spent with the spend limit, right? So everyone knows this functionality. It's a standard thing for ERC20 tokens. If we are building DAI pools, if you are building DAI vaults, we have to ask Alice to approve the transaction with the DAI token by the vault address. So the vault address will somehow manage the DAI token from the Alice. And of course, there will be limit, like, of course, limit is different, depends on the decimals, but let's this number. DAI has, as far as I know, 18 decimals, so this number will be big. And after this approval, Alice, she is communicating with the vault. So she is calling the method which is deposit. So Alice, before she approved for Vault smart contract to use her DAI, right now, Alice, she can easily start using the strategy after the approval. She is calling deposit. So what is going on inside? Inside the Vault smart contract, he has an approval from Alice to use those DAI, to move them, to put them into different protocols. So it's basically Alice approval to spend and transfer funds. And here, Alice is interacting with the Vault and depositing funds into the Vault. So then the funds within the Vault, the magic is happening. So the strategies start working, like putting it into liquidity pools, borrowing protocols, whatever, like any DApp which is generating income, which is generating rewards. And after some time, Alice, she's able to withdraw all funds or part of the funds by calling withdraw. And as we considered before, the main principle of Yearn vaults, of Yearn strategies, are if you are depositing funds, you have to withdraw the same funds back. Like if you are depositing DAI, you have to withdraw the DAI. If you're depositing Ethereum, Ethereum. There is no exception here. And of course, we are like if we are thinking that the strategy is profitable, the strategy must generate more DAI than Alisa deposited, right? Or anyone in the pool deposited. And of course, the share of the DAI after some time will be bigger than deposited. So how to find how much DAI Alice is able to withdraw? We are using price per share function. It is always growing because we have profit in the Vault, right? So the basic idea is pretty simple. Vault is working like this. Alice depositing, like approving, then calling deposit, then magic happens, something with the funds, which is generating more and more DAI, and then Alice is withdrawing. She's withdrawing more funds than she deposited. So this is a basic thing around deposits. Guys, do you have any questions around Vault, around the architecture and the main functions of the Vault? Yeah. I told you before, right? It was not a bank run, but it was exploit, which is also the bank run because you have no funds to get users, right? Okay, sorry. You asked what is happening with the with the Vault if there is a bank run situation, if there is nothing to pay back. Of course, this method cannot work, and must be decided by the managers of the Vault how to resolve it. And the case with the exploit, the case with the attack on the DAI pool 1 year ago, almost 1 year ago, I don't remember exactly. They stopped the Vault, and then they issued the DAI from the new supply of Wi-Fi. They deposited it back, and then start working. It's like it's easy to solve it. But again, as you can see, the Yearn Finance is not a company. It is not a company. It is a community, first of all, right? Of course, there is a token, there is some admins, but anyone can become a strategist for the vaults. And of course, you have to understand the basic ideas of how vaults works, how you can create the strategies. There is no criteria about which protocols you can use for your strategy and which is not. But if you open the documentation, you will find that it's up to the strategist to be sure that the protocol is somehow secure. And this is one thing. And another thing is to be officially accepted by the Yearn community, there will be vote. So of course, not anyone will be able to develop the official Yearn strategies. But there is no restrictions for anyone to use the framework, as we can see now, to build the strategy based on different protocols, and then it's working. And so we consider it. We already explained how vaults works. Of course, any black swan things up to strategists and the managers. it can be resolved by different way. Anyone can become a strategist, really. Like if you understand how it works, you build the strategy, you test it, you can apply it for being accepted. And as I told you before, the vaults, we will consider vaults later. Within the vaults, there will be several strategies, and people between them there will be easy switcher, because some strategies are more profitable, some are not, some are more secure, some are less secure. So it's up to the governance how to build it. So yeah, but basic functionality of vaults is very simple. Like you're depositing, you are withdrawing the same asset. And do you know another example, pretty classic example for that? Then you have one asset, you are deploying somewhere, and then you are withdrawing the same asset. Like it's a buzzword. Anyone knows this buzzword? Please. Huh? No. Staking. This thing, like if you have Ethereum and you are getting more Ethereum, like if you're staking asset A and you are getting more asset A after some time, it's basically staking, right? Because you are increasing your stake in the token. So it's not obvious, to be honest. Then I went deeply into the Yearn strategies. I was wondering, because sometimes things are on the table and no one can see them. One of the most easiest Yearn strategy is compound staking. So most of the protocols, they have staking with the APR. APR means then you deposit it $100 with, I don't know, 50% APR. After 1 year, you will have $100 plus $50, right? So because of APR. APR means there is no compounding. This is the difference between APR and APU, because APU means yield, like how much you have in the end in like most optimized strategy, or how can I name it. But APR means just rate which is set up within the smart contracts, and or another system, and rate is basically the linear function. Like in the beginning you have 100, after some time you have 150, and then if you are not doing risk taking, if you are not doing repeating procedure, increasing the vault balance, the balance of the staked assets, you'll have linear rewards for long time. And the basic strategy, which can be implemented by any protocol, and this is a very important question, because as you hear, probably you are building protocols, you are building staking for your tokens, of course. You can start building strategies with a very easy protocol, with a very easy strategy. You can create the staking rewards with the APR, just like computing based on the share and the number of block. Or you can choose whatever implementation already available. You can find in GCDAO already implemented fixed APR staking for whatever assets, or where there are different staking implementation with the dilution. Like if you have, for example, like Pancake or whatever, they have a dilution thing. But you can build the Yearn strategy for your protocol if you just automate the staking operation. Like, I don't know, every week for all users, you will restake the token which are coming as the rewards from the staking. And then you're increasing the balance for the staking, right? So you will let users, most often for your own users, you will automate them the procedure, manually go and restake rewards. Sometimes it's even it's not even bigger thing. I mean, for example, in our DAO we have 23% APR, and the APU will be like 25 or a bit more. There is a lot of calculators, APR to APU. You see, you can easily compute the difference between APR and APU for any assets. And APR means like stable rate of the staking rewards, and APU means how potentially with a different type of reinvesting, how you can increase how you can increase the yields for the users. And let's consider the APR like, I don't know, let's make it bigger, 100% APR, right? If we are staking it annually, so they are same. I mean, there is no reinvestments, right? The strategy just buy and hold and stake as a token. If we are restaking, monthly means that we are restaking 12 times per year, right? So we are basically reinvesting the funds which are coming as a rewards 12 times. So for 100% APR, actually double for the funds, we have 161 APU, right? So this is a basic strategy anyone can implement for any protocol. If you wanna start with writing Yearn strategy, just find any protocol or your own protocol with the APR and without automatization of APU, and just build the vault with the strategy which are just automatically for some time. I don't know, monthly. I think it's not so often. We need to do that like weekly or so. Again, depends on the chain. On Ethereum, it will be very expensive to do it often. On another chains like Phantom, Arbitrum, it will be less expensive, and we can do it even every block. Of course, we are paying transactions, and we have to provide some incentives for the oracles. But yeah, basically, this is the difference, and this is a main and most obvious strategy for any DeFi protocol to be implemented by anyone. Just compound staking. Sorry guys, want a break? Do you have any questions here with the API and APU and the strategy here? No? So yeah, APR to APU, and we'll have the same vault functionality for staking optimization, right? One token is going into vault, same token is going out. So this can be implemented into the Yearn strategy. I'm not sure that any proposals will be accepted by Yearn if you are building that for your own protocol, but you can try. It can be a good example to start. Before we'll go more into the code, into the HardHat and the architecture of the strategy, I want to show you the video again from Finematics about vaults. It is good to see, and I also need some break. Sorry again.
So, what are Yearn vaults all about? Also, how does the ETH vault work under the hood? And how can it bring over 60% returns? We'll be going through all of this in this video. Before we begin, if you're interested in learning more about decentralized finance, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Okay, one more thing before we start. If you're new to the Yearn protocol, or if you need a quick recap, you can check my other video on Yearn and the Wi-Fi token here. Cool, let's start with the vaults. Yearn vaults, in essence, are pools of funds with an associated strategy for maximizing returns on the asset in the vault. Vault strategies are more active than just lending out coins like in the standard Yearn protocol. In fact, most vault strategies can do multiple things to maximize the returns. This can involve supplying collateral and borrowing other assets, such as stablecoins, providing liquidity and collecting trading fees, or farming other tokens and selling them for profit. Each vault follows a strategy that is voted in by the Yearn community. Yearn vaults were created as a direct response to yield farming and liquidity mining that made searching for the highest yield much more complex than just switching between different lending protocols. You can learn more about yield farming and liquidity mining here. Similarly to the standard Yearn protocol, when tokens are deposited to a vault, the user receives their corresponding Y tokens that can be redeemed for the underlying tokens. One of the important rules when it comes to vaults, or Yearn protocol in general, is the fact that you always withdraw the same asset that was initially deposited. So farm tokens and accrued fees are sold for the main asset in the vault. The amount that is withdrawn is the initial amount that was put in, plus the pool yield that was earned, minus the fees. Not everything that is deposited into a vault is put in a strategy. The vault differentiates between vault holdings and strategy holdings. Most of the funds are used by an active strategy, but there is also an idle amount that just sits in the vault. When a user withdraws from a vault, the funds first come from the idle portion of the vault, and there
So guys, what do you think?
is no withdrawal fee.
Which share it should be between strategy holdings and the idle amount? Your guesses. Like, if you are building protocols, you have to decide. 20% for idle.
5% for idle. Another guesses. 5 or 20, right? But anyway, we all agreed that strategy holdings must be bigger, right? Because it's a capital which is using for generate yields, of course. But it's up to the strategies to decide. So of course, sometimes we have to at the same time make for user easy to withdraw it at any time without cancel transactions, without situation there we have zero funds for withdrawal because they are in strategy holdings and we have to withdraw them. And at the same time, we have to make it as rare as possible to spend gas, spend transactions for every time interacting with another DApps with the strategy holdings. So it should be somehow chosen. And the thing is, the general law I found in the DeFi is the more TVL, the more liquidity within the vault, the less percentage must be easier, right? Because the demand for withdrawal keeps almost constant, even if the user base is decreasing. Empirically, the amount of the funds which are withdrawing much less than the holdings which are idle. So of course you can start even from 50% just to let users easily deposit and withdraw, and then the TVL is growing. You can make it less and less because in that way you will make it more efficient. The whole strategy, the whole money is
charged. If there are not enough funds in the idle portion of the vault to cover the withdrawal, the funds have to be withdrawn from the strategy, which results in a 0.5% fee. On top of that, some profit-earning strategies will result in a 5% fee to subsidize the gas costs. For community-made strategies, such as the ETH strategy, currently 10% of this fee goes to the strategy creator. So creating new vault strategies can be a good opportunity for a skilled developer. Fees that don't go to the strategy creator end up in a dedicated treasury contract. If the money in the treasury contract exceeds the $500,000 threshold, everything over that amount is redirected to the governance staking contract. There are currently multiple Yearn vaults available, such as stablecoin vaults, DAI, TUSD, USDC, USDT, Curve LP vaults, Y, BUSD, SBTC, non-stable assets, Link, Wi-Fi, ETH. Now let's have a look at the Yearn ETH vault, YETH, to understand the concept of vault strategies.
So there are many pools for stablecoins, and vault assets, but also volatile assets. And the main idea here, why we are talking here, the benefits to develop Yearn strategies is not only about doing something good for your projects or another projects, and optimize yield with staking or with more difficult strategy, but also you can earn rewards. I mean, on the last slides here, you can see that strategist, which strategy is approved within the system, can earn 10% from the profit of the protocol, which is incentivizing people to be creative with the strategies, because the more the more yields they are suggesting, the more interesting strategies they are suggesting to the Yearn Finance, the better chance that the funds will be deposited into his strategy, so the more profit he will generate. So for developers who gonna go into the DeFi development, it's a good strategy to start, because you don't have to run DAO, you don't have to raise funds for something. You can just start learning how to build the strategies. You can build one and then help with the ask for help with the promotion, and you can start earning something without reason to be employed by somebody. So it's easy strategy for anyone from everywhere to start. And this is why I like Yearn, because it's a good start point for developers. A lot of developers are asking about where to start, so this one is a good opportunity.
Why BUSD, SBTC, non-stable assets, Link, Wi-Fi, ETH. Now let's have a look at the Yearn ETH Vault, YETH, to understand the concept of vault strategies better. As we mentioned earlier, a strategy for each vault is chosen by the community. We are focusing on the current running strategy for the YETH Vault that may and will most likely change over time. In the current strategy, after a user deposits ETH into the vault, the ETH is put into a MakerDAO lending platform as collateral. By supplying ETH collateral to MakerDAO, the ETH strategy can borrow DAI at 200% collateralization ratio, creating a collateralized debt position, CDP. This means that if 100 ETH was put into the MakerDAO with $500 per ETH, the strategy could borrow up to 25,000 DAI. Borrowed DAI is then put into the Yearn DAI Vault that uses a strategy that deposits DAI to Curve's Y pool, that is a pool with stablecoins consisting of DAI, USDC, USDT, and TUSD. Now, because of the current liquidity mining program of the Curve's CRV token, providing liquidity to the Curve's pool and locking LP tokens in the Curve gauge result in getting rewarded with extra CRV tokens on top of standard trading fees generated by just supplying liquidity to a pool. The ETH strategy then periodically sells CRV tokens for ETH and uses the trading fees from the Y liquidity pool to accrue even more interest. These steps all put together can, at the moment, result in high returns of around 60% on your ETH deposited to the YETH Vault. 2 days after launching, the YETH Vault had already reached 370,000 ETH locked in the vault, and it became
This is Binance NFT, the NFT marketplace with everything you need in one place. Indie creator.
the largest CDP on MakerDAO. Further deposits to the YETH Vault were also temporarily halted to balance between best profits and best risk adjustment. YETH Vault has a great potential of sucking in more and more ETH and becoming pretty much a black hole for ETH. This should, in theory, increase the price of ETH as more and more ETH is taken out of circulation. Is that 60% in the YETH Vault sustainable? Probably not. It all depends.
Probably not.
Of course, there are some numbers around. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Sorry.
Of course, 60% is not always sustainable, but it is good for beginning to to create extra incentives to boost the liquidity. But then it's going down most often, and there are different rates for within the DeFi. We made a research, and it's like the yields around 25% are average, and they can be considered as sustainable, more or less, just an average. Of course, some protocols they have like insane. If you like Olympus, you probably know, like insane. Some of them they have small yields, like 1 or 2%. If you open the curve, you will find those. But yeah, the average one is small. And why he mentioned the black hole here? He mentioned that because those vaults, they are somehow locking the Ethereum from the circulation. And for many protocol builders, this is something like part of the tokenomics. Like if you are building protocol and you have a functionality where your token is somehow extracting from the circulating supply and locking somewhere, this is a good thing always, because based on the simple economy with the supply demand, we have less circulating supply, which is how it works to the valuation. And instead of burning, instead of doing some cheap marketing things, you can basically design the system to increase these operations, like extracting from the circulating supply. And this is a good. Your vaults made this, and it's not only this. Right now we have another leader, which is Yearn Finance with the stake Ethereum. So, but it's always good.
Mining programs available. If there are no more programs like Curve CRV1 available, or rather, there is no interest in the programs, so the farm tokens are not worth anything, the return on the vault would go down, most likely to a single-digit or low double-digit APY. One of the most important benefits of using vaults is automating your yield farming. Yield farming can be a pretty time-consuming and expensive activity, so if you're not willing to spend hours searching for the best yield farming opportunity, spend hundreds of dollars in gas fees to move funds around, and keep monitoring your collateralization ratio, it is probably better to rely on the vaults. This all sounds pretty cool, but let's not forget about potential risks. Besides our standard DeFi risks, such as smart contract bugs and stable coins losing their peg to the dollar, the ETH deposited as collateral on MakerDAO is susceptible to liquidation if the collateralization ratio falls below 150%. In our previous example, if the ETH price drops below $375, the collateralization ratio would drop below 150%. If this happens, the ETH vault would have 1 hour to bring the collateralization ratio back to over 150%. The reason for this is that MakerDAO's Oracle Security Module, OSM, gives the CDP owners 1 hour to put more collateral in.
So, it was a question, right, about what's going on. So yeah, Maker has some time for the vault to somehow rebalance the position.
Liquidated. The ETH vault is directly integrated with this module, so it can react to changes in price ahead of time by bringing back the collateralization ratio to around 200% every time the ETH price drops. Yearn vaults are clearly one of...
Before we'll finish the video, the good point about recapitalization is then you are using your ETH as a collateral. You are basically using the margin, right? You are holding it. You have some liquidity. You can basically buy another ETH, and then if price is going up, you will be in the profit position. But here, if the Ethereum is going down, you cannot keep the CDP on the previous levels. You have to withdraw it, and you have to stake it back, right, to make it work. So, and this procedure exactly automated by the strategy. So, and because of the strategy is always tracking the oracles, it's always tracking what is going on. It can do it, ahead of the market, ahead of the MakerDAO.
Every time the ETH price drops. Yearn vaults are clearly one of the most interesting new developments in the DeFi space. But like with pretty much everything else in DeFi, before deciding to use a particular protocol, always make sure to understand the associated risks. So what do you think about Yearn vaults and the ETH vault in particular? Do you think it will...
Okay, guys, let's finish this part. And I suggest to have a short break, like for 15 minutes, just to to drink, to relax, and then we'll continue. So I'm gonna finish with the questions, like just for you who is really interested into the how it's working under the hood. Well, already considered how the vault works, right? It's very easy. Just approve, deposit, and then withdrawal. Like nothing difficult here. Of course, strategies are a bit difficult because the strategy is something which is doing the magic, operating with the dApps and somehow solving everything we already discussed. We have three main methods within the smart contracts for the strategy template, which is prepare return, adjust position, and liquidate position. What do you think? What does mean prepare return? Prepare return means that you are extracting profit from the dApp and put it into the vault, right? And do some kind of recomputation, just some state changes, right? Let's see. Are you right or no before the break? So of course you're right. It is taking profits and somehow reporting losses if there are any of the strategy. You're right. Let's go next. We have adjust position. What do you think? What is adjust position? Any guesses? Like by the meaning of words. Rebalance? Any guesses?
Remove some of the amount of the strategy and into your ideal position.
Again?
Remove some of the amount which has been put into the strategy and bring it to the ideal position.
Okay, so it's basically the rebalance between the idle and the strategy funds, right? Like between them. Let's check. I know the answer, just interesting to check. So we adjust position. So the adjust position is basically investing the tokens, like DAO tokens. For some reason, it's called want in Yearn. But if you are working with DAI token, like stablecoin, this method is actually depositing funds. Yes, basically you're right, because depositing funds into the protocol is somehow rebalancing between idle funds and the strategy funds. Yes, you're right. And the last one before the break, liquidate position. It should be easy. Yes. Basically, it is unwind enough position for withdrawals to increase the idle amount for withdrawals. So guys, let's have a break for 15 minutes. Let's make it 15 minutes because we have some parts to continue. And let's be there at 3:15. Okay, we'll start. 3:15. See you.
It's a question because sometimes you cannot because of aggregation, right? It's like no way to sell. And 3 years ago, 3 years ago, it was a situation. Right. It was a situation that the maker DAO has 5 million users. Just because they had not enough time to liquidate. And guess how they solved it? No, they issued the car and sold it.
Which is the same thing.
So yeah, it happens, and there's nothing. There is no optimal solution because it's a competitive environment, and of course there are some class of maintainers of the maker DAO which are they are professional players. They have infrastructure, they own nodes for transactions to be faster. They have funds as a resource to increase the gas limit. So of course, but there is no theoretical solution. Like such situations are possible.
I was checking. I think it's still at 1.5% return. At the 60%, I would have
Yes.
started. Can we close the door? Hey guys, let's continue. Thanks for closing the door. I see not everyone has a laptop, but those who has will do something with the HardHat. I will explain the pros and cons of the HardHat, and we'll go deeply into the strategies. If we'll have enough time, it seems like unlikely, but we'll also try to implement the mock for the vault and the strategy. So let's go. Let's come back to the vaults. So the basic functionality of vault is interacting with user, accepting the funds, and after the magic happens as a part of the strategy and the DApp logic, return funds with the profit back. And the basic functionality is the staking, as we all discovered this workshop. But there are also another opportunities how the strategy can be built, like using curve, using another liquidity mining, liquidity farming, borrowing lending thing. So, but the idea is simple, like depositing and then returning back the same token. We also finished with the free main function. For the Yearn strategies, which are prepare, return, actually taking profit from the DApp to later redistribute that, and adjust position, which is actually depositing funds which are coming from user into the protocol, into the DApp, and liquidate position, which is back operation, withdraw and close this position. So basically, then you are writing Yearn strategies. You have to care about those free functions and how they should be implemented, like how they should be optimized in terms of gas cost and whatever. So before we'll go to the HardHat, let's look at the all important methods of the strategy, Yearn strategy. So of course we have some descriptor. Just to distinguish your strategy from other strategies, and of course we already discussed about adjust position for deposits funds into the DApp. Of course we already discussed about that we have to sometime withdraw the profit from the DApp to later distribute it across the users, and we have another methods which is liquidate position, like which is withdrawing funds from the DApp to later redistribute it. And then we have full exit, like completely exit from the DAO. And we also have the approach to understand how many assets strategy has, which is estimated total assets. Another thing is want. Who knows? Who remember what mean want? Because we will see. What? Yes, it's basically the term for the token which is depositing into the vault, right? So within the strategy smart contract, you will operate with this variable want. So of course we have read function to estimate total assets. We can always knew how much funds we have, and as I told you before, those vaults are not immutable. Of course, any smart contracts in Solidity are immutable, but the logic can be migrated. If you are using one strategy, you can change it to more optimized strategy, or if you found exploit, you can do migration. And strategy has prepare migration method for this operation. And so those are basic methods for the Yearn vaults, for the Yearn strategy. Yeah, so to implement the Yearn strategy, we have to work with the two smart contracts. We have to implement or inherit vault operation and implement strategy. The strategy working with the DApp, so the more logic here for the writing strategy is around how you are interacting with the DApp itself. Because money is coming from the DApp, not from the strategy. Strategy is just a controller which is switching between different different strategies about what to do with the DApp interaction. And so let's go to the HardHat. HardHat, I'm suggesting you to open laptop to prepare the folders for the workshop. I have this folder. It is if-Dubai. Can you see it right now? Is it okay? It's a boring part. So, we are coding, we are making mistakes. Something is not building, something is building too long. So this is a boring part, but you probably already experienced with the another approaches to write smart contracts like Remix or the previous Yearn workshop was with Brownie, right? So probably Brownie with the Python, and there are a lot of ways how you can write smart contracts. I like HardHat because HardHat is focusing on fast testing environment. So it's basically a good approach if you are building contracts and they are interacting with another contracts. You can build the whole environment with all dependencies, and you can easily execute multi-level interactions with the smart contracts, and it's happening very fast. One of the fastest framework for that. So let me see what we have. Okay. I already forked and cloned the repo. I'm gonna do it with you right now. So I have empty repo right now. Let's open the HardHat. So it's a HardHat org. You can see it's Ethereum development environment for professionals, and basically it's a tool you can do everything because it's including Truffle, it's including all the libraries for you to create accounts, to imitate some interaction between them. It's everything included. You have questions? Okay, so there are a lot of blah 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 stuff, and the good thing is they are tutorials. If you'll go to the tutorial, they have a quick start, which is a good thing because you can easily install HardHat. You will see the basic examples. But these examples with the JavaScript, today, unfortunately, we don't have time for Typescript. It's much more complicated in terms of dependencies. But with the JavaScript, we'll see the boilerplate anyone can start from. So the boilerplate can be found here. It's an easy greeter smart contract, like you are sending message and have a response. The basic example. But it's too simple because there is only one contract and there is no interaction between contracts. I prepared I cannot say better version. I can say a bit advanced version for showing examples what you can do with the HardHat. You can find it here on the GitHub. Let me make it bigger. I cannot make it bigger, right? Okay, I can do it here on the presentation. So please open this link and make it bigger. Can you see it? So let's open this repo and clone it. I'll keep here for 1 minute, just for you to clone it. Because on this example, we will consider the all important sides of the HardHat, and how easy it is to start building with the HardHat. My first experience with the Solidity was with Remix, and it was like pain because you can easily write something and deploy, but then you're thinking about like something which is more complex than Grid or smart contract. You understand that you need the TDD approach, which is test-driven development approach, because then you are writing dependencies, then you are writing or you are designing the system. You have to think that you have one contract with one interface, another contract with another interface. They somehow communicated, and you mock one smart contract, you are writing implementation for another smart contract. So it's anyway must be like standard development, not like web IDE. For deploying tokens, it's easy, or Uni V2 pools. But for any custom development, we need something which is closer to the normal development with a compiler, with a test running system, etc. So guys, have you already cloned it? Okay, cool. Let me do it. Let me do it soon, and we'll continue. So let's open it. Sorry for switching between sizes. Let's fork it. I'll try to fork SSH. And git clone. Let's see. So it was very fast. We have HHCIMT template. I forgot how to how to explain the name, but of course HardHat tutorial template. It is basically inherited from the original version, but we added some smart contracts interaction, some mock smart contracts, and the test smart contracts, which are more comprehensive to show you what we can do with HardHat. And let's go there. We can see some files here. Like the basic logic here. We have tests, we have scripts, we have contracts. Let's open the Visual Studio for that. Who is using Visual Studio? Visual Studio Code. So most of you, right? Because recently the HardHat released the nice tool for Visual Studio coders, and I haven't tried it yet, but suggest you to follow their Twitter and find it, because it's like make development easy as possible. Okay, open the folder, find the repo. Okay, here it is. So what we have here, we have the basic architecture. I like how it's scaling. We have contracts, we have scripts, and we have tests. So and this is basic structure here. Contracts you can write here. Interfaces are also smart contracts, so you are keeping it inside. And my approach is to also keep mock smart contracts also inside. Why we need mocks? Who knows why we are using mocks, like in our development? Any guesses? Yes, exactly. Because then we are building the DeFi strategy, which is interacting with the Yearn and then Uni and then a lot of things. Token 1, token 3, token 4, like a lot of things. We don't have to deploy it because it's simple logic inside. So to be absolutely sure that our logic working as we are expecting, and to implement tests which are doing computations, because the most difficult thing during DeFi developments is actually computations. You probably know that Solidity has no float numbers and any how to say respectful approach for working with the computations. You are also always working with a long number, and then you have to keep in mind that the decimals, you have to always convert it, and the decimal logic is a hell. It is, I don't know, for me it's like the most difficult thing during the smart contracts development, despite the fact that it's even easier than the Swift development for iOS or mobile development or even backend. But this thing is really annoying. It's even better if we are using mocks, to somehow check ourselves with working with the numbers. You can just mock any type of corner cases or cases in the middle for computations, and you'll be absolutely sure that your smart contract has no side effects. And if it's working as you expected, and your code with the mock testing code with the mock smart contracts working well, so and you have a mistake or whatever, you have to find it outside, with the integration with any dependencies. So here we have contracts, interfaces, mocks, and most often the main contract which should be executed is on the root of the contract folder. We also have scripts. What is scripts? We'll not talk a lot about that, but then you are building a smart contract system with many types of side jobs. You can implement all side jobs into the script file. So this will automate your operations. Like if you have to download something or change something automatically during the interaction with the HardHat, you can implement all those operations here. Most often, I'm not using that because my repos are atomic. Most often, like if I have a functionality for A doing B, I'm trying to keep it inside with the all coverage, with the all tests, and for the integration, I'm using that as a dependency. So it's kind of microservices, but there is no microservices in DeFi development. But you can keep the repo structure. So I'm not using sample scripts often. But some people are using that because their repo is huge. They have many smart contracts, huge dependencies, and they are using that. But the most important is tests. Basically, the tests which you are running, and this is simple chai test from the JS. You can use the same logic with the Typescript. So here, tests are written in the standard approach. We have a describe. It's a scope of different tests. We can do some closures with the before and after the test. Before, if we need to do some kind of preparation, we have to be always before every test, every atomic test. We have to be prepared for some state. We are not starting from the zero state. Probably we have to create the accounts, deposit the funds on those accounts, and then do some kind of interaction before every test launching. So we can do it in a simple approach of matcha or chai framework for the testing, and each test has some signature. You can write the signature here. Like we have first test, which is greeter test. What we are doing here, we are creating the contract factory, which will actually deploy the contract. So and in this test, we have our smart contract greeter as already implemented. We can look at this. So the greeter has a method which called greet, right? And greeting is an approach, greeting and greeting changing here. So greet is basically the external view function, which is returning the internal state with the text information, and the text information hard-coded into the smart contract, right? So the good point with the HardHat is you can literally debug your smart contract code, same as you are doing that in the JavaScript. You can use console log within the smart contracts. It is actually a very important thing because for many other alternative approaches of smart contracts development, you cannot look deep into the smart contract. What is going on inside? Into the internal functions or external functions, you cannot find what's exactly going on. But with the console log, you can literally print everything, every operations, and it's a good thing. I really like to have it because sometimes sometimes you can find some issues, especially with the computation. With the computation, you can make decimal error somewhere, and because of that, your test cannot be passed. So you have to find where you accidentally did it, or where your variable is in correct state. So yeah, we can use console log because it's also a smart contract from the HardHat console log, and everything is printing into the command line. And so yeah, back to the tests. Our grid function is returning the variable with the grid, right? So to run the test, we have to implement it. We have to call it as greeter. We have linker here, and the linker works by the name of the smart contract. So if you open the test again, we are calling greeter. Our main contract also greeter. We are importing it, and they are connected. You see, right? So what's next? JavaScript is interacting with the contracts by this name, and we are deploying a greeter smart contract. We are within the constructor of the smart contract. We are setting up the variable, and then the smart contract deployed. We can call the grid, and if it's equal to what we set it up into the constructor, into the deploy, test passed. So everything is good. Within the same test, we can also check something different. We also have the change function, which is set greeting. We can change it, and we can check it again. That's everything works fine. So let's just test it, how easy it is. To work with the contract, we need only 3 commands. First of all, we have to install all dependencies. We have to install all dependencies. It is npm install. And we can easily check the dependencies here within the boilerplates. We have ethers and waffle. Ethers works to deploy the contracts. And the waffle is using to create the different accounts, interact with them. We can see the examples later. And we have some dependencies here, like for testings and for interacting with the contracts. So let's install them and deploy contracts and then run the tests. It is very fast, actually, because sometimes I tried the Chainlink workshops, and sometimes I was waiting like for hours to install. I don't know what's happening. Sometimes if you have Mac version A1 core, you have some issues with the dependencies. So I have A1 MacBook, but I have no issues with the HardHat in any way, which is also good. So let's see the changes. We have nothing here except node modulus, which are installed here, so we can interact with the HardHat. Let's call the compiler. If you have some issues with the smart contract, you will find the response during the compilation. For example, if I will do something which is broken the logic of compiler, I will find the response here. Let's try it. For example, we are doing this. Let's do something. Let's do something like this, or this. So we are breaking our contract, and look how HardHat will show us. Okay, we have one issue. We have to save the changes. Let's recompile it. And right now it shouldn't compile because we have issues. Where we have issues here. the greeter, and this row. Easy. So you can easily debug your contracts and change it to make it working. So this is an example. Okay, you see, it's working. So you don't have to always compile because the compilation is basically creating the artifacts which are using for the virtual machine, for the tool HardHat tool to later run the scripts and do some logic with the smart contracts. So and you can see the artifacts here. We have build info. It's almost impossible to read because it's kind of many dependencies. This information can be easily deleted, and by HardHat compile, you'll build it again. And we have some wrappers, which is using for working with the smart contracts. And yeah, you can easily remove all this information and compile again. But most important is tests, right? So we have our smart contract already implemented. We have a greeter, which is returning the hard-coded variable, and we can change this variable by set greeting. So let's call the test. We have to have this test at least, which is checking two things. I will comment this side. Sorry, it's a basic thing, but we have to, understand the basic operations. Those who understand that, even if they are not blockchain developers or even don't understand the blockchain, but they know the basic of JavaScript or basic of web development, they can easily onboard, start interacting, and increase their skills without the threshold, entry threshold. So. For me, it was important. All my team members who are from classical development industry, they also came up for this, and right now they are pretty experienced developers, blockchain developers. So let's do the HardHat test. So right now we have to pass one test, and we see the description of the test should return the greeting once it's changed, and the test is passed. So nice, right? So basically, we didn't deploy anything. I mean, we just writing code without the real blockchain. We are doing stuff which is like classical programming, and this is why I like HardHat. I like that it's simple. What? No one ask questions. Okay. So our test. What just happened? What just happened? We deployed the greeter. We called greet, and everything was fine. So let's do some kind of logic here. Let's add some roles into the logic. Let's change something. I'm going to change the smart contract before deployment. As you can see here, anyone can set up set greetings. But what if we want to have it as only owner? We will create the modifier only owner, and the only owner will able to set greetings, right? So we'll not do that because we have limited time for everything. But the most important thing is here, because with the Solidity smart contract and the admin functionality, you can find a lot of examples in OpenZeppelin. But in the HardHat, here we are working only with one account. So unexplicitly, the account who deployed this smart contract created. We cannot communicate. We cannot switch the account and who is interacting with the contracts. But we have to have a ability to do that, right? So for that, we have another approach. We can before the test started, we can basically import Waffle and create several accounts for our smart contract. For example, I don't know, let's do it here. Okay, here Waffle is creating the several wallets. And you see here we can create the one account, like EOA account for deployer, one EOA account for admin. If we need it, like, you know, we have to differentiate them. We can create the account for keeper. As I told you before, Yearn Strategies, they are automated. So we can create the special account for testing purposes, which are working as a keepers. And most often other account is a user, like, you know, Alice. We can call her Alice. And yeah, so basically here we have several accounts. We can deploy the script from the deployer account. It is implicitly going on here, but let's make it more explicit. I'm using another my code for switching between accounts, and switching between accounts is using the connect method. So all smart contracts, they have connect method, and you can change the account who is interacting with the chain. So we can do it here. Okay, deployer automatically deployed the greeter, right? But right now we have to check that Alice is able to call greet function. So we have to call connect. Let me see one more time. Connect. I know it's boring. Alice. Alice is connecting to the contract and calling greet. Should it work or not? Who knows? Should it work? I have no idea. Let's try. I never tried in this example. So we changed the we changed the testing environment, right? We haven't changed the smart contracts. We only changed the way how Alice is interacting with the contract. So we don't have to compile, but then we are calling test. The compilation is automatically starting because it's tracking the code changes. Yeah, you have questions? Huh? No, it's already imported because all dependencies are hidden within the HardHat environment. So they are all inside. You can basically check the the log file and see all the dependencies here, and you will find everything we already have experience with is inside. So there is no forcing you to to switch the habits. But yeah, there are also some good things like Waffle to create the accounts. And okay, we haven't changed the contracts, but we added some logic into the test. So we have to so let's try compile, right? It should say nothing to compile, of course. We haven't implemented any changes, but let's call the test, and test passed. What does it mean? It means that anyone, I mean Alice, is able to call the greeting function, right? Most stupid mistake developer can do is allowing for anyone, for any external accounts, to use the admin methods, right? It's easy to check here by the same approach. Let's imagine that setGreeting is an admin function, right? We made a mistake with the smart contract. It's not only owner, it's not only admin. It's just we forgot about that modifier. So we have setGreeting, but it should be admin only. And to check that admin only can do that, we have to explicitly connect, check that it works, and also check that any other account cannot do that. But by the same logic, we have to connect and then call. Let's do some short break, like 3 minutes. I need to drink the water and try to play with the accounts. If you have any questions, you can ask. Again, why I'm using what? In this case.
Like to get the wallet, because you have like get signer function that return exactly the same thing. Do you have any reason to use water?
Just syntax sugar, because here I can just create the array of the all rows, and I don't have to write even more code for operation. Of course, I need several accounts at the same time. So the syntax sugar is pretty easy here to use, because you can see the array, and as much accounts as you need, you can just add it into the.
The get signer function is exactly the same. Like, is there any reason to use water, or
it's the same. It's basically a wrapper on existing frameworks. So here you can use any framework you already have experience with to generate accounts. For me, it's better. Of course, in Solidity development, there are a lot of synthetic sugars for the same thing. So it's just a question of taste or a question of dependencies. I don't know how much unnecessary information I'm uploading if I'm using another framework. So it's basically a question of choice. With the generation of the accounts, there is no magic at all. Just private key. So actually not private key, but seed phrase, because seed phrase is more fundamental than the private key, because private key is coming from the seed phrase, and then it goes up into the public key and then the rest, right? So all these things are happening here. And there's one thing, never use those accounts into the mainnet deployment, because those things are deterministic. So those accounts are already known for anyone, so never use those accounts for mainnet or even testnet, because sometimes on the testnet you are checking the real behavior of the protocol, and somebody can influence the logic. So okay, we have it here. What I'm going to show you also is that we have only one smart contract here, right? What to do if we have several smart contracts? How to link another contract? And we actually have it because we have mocks. And if you look at the mock, it's basically the same smart contract, but you can hard code any logic here. So the greeter smart contract can be implemented as a production-ready smart contract. But if you're gonna check that your logic, hard-coded logic, and the real logic are same within certain cases, you can create the greeter mock. Most often within the mocks you are using dependencies. For example, your greeter contract is trying to ask the balance of the coin and then say, hey, you have this balance, right? So to work with another contract, you can call greeter mock. And let's implement and run again. So here we have greeter contract. Here we have mock contract, so you can deploy as many contracts as you want in the test environment. And you're deploying one, you're deploying second, and then you can compare both. It can be useful if you're going to check the state of one contract and another contract. Are they at the same state if you are calling constructor, right? If you're calling constructor, you have only one way to reach one state. Your real account can use some dependencies. right? If you want to check that they're actually the same, it's just hypothetical example of how you can use it. But basically, you can check two contracts that they are working the same way. And again, you can just full test. Okay, so we have one scope, we have another scope, and look at the time, how they are, how much time it's taking. It is less than a second. It's very fast execution. We can do huge logic inside, and it will be very fast execution. Guys, we have only half an hour. Let's go into the how we can implement the Yearn strategies here, which interfaces we have to implement, and if we have enough time, we can deploy something. But we have only one chance to do it, is a mocks. Like, we can basically build some mocks strategies. What kind of strategy we can see? My guess is we can implement the strategy we already seen here. As the most easiest one is staking. We can do compound staking, right? So what we need for that, we have to open the any repo with the already implemented and audited staking contracts. Let me find the contract I know. I mean, implemented and tested. 1 sec. Okay, here and staking. So we have staking contracts here, and the staking contract has only one contract, right? And some interfaces, dependencies, like if you are staking token, you are basically creating another token, which is S, like S, stake token. Original token is locked somewhere, so you are locking it to provide some rewards, which can be taken by calling function harvest. And here we can see the staking smart contract. We are inheriting ERC20 because it's going to be a part of the staking simple strategy. If your staked token is an ERC20 token, is inheriting ERC20 token, it means that you can easily change the account who is staking because you can transfer the token. So nothing to change here, of course we are implementing some methods for the token. We are implementing some. It is a DApp. We are looking at DApp because staking smart contract in our main diagram is a DApp. Like the smart contract which is generating money, which can be sent back to the user. And in our case, staking is a smart contract. If you want to see an example and provide some feedback about the staking, you can also download it here or clone it. We can easily add it into our HardHat. It's already covered by tests, so we can see the example of DApp. One example of the DApp here. So you can clone it as well. And how this staking functionality is implemented? Here we have a depositor who is depositing funds, and we have one variable within the contract, which is APR. Let me see. It should be inside. The APR. Yeah, so user can stake, or then we are working with the Yearn strategy. It's not a user; it's the strategy contract can stake and harvest. Harvest means that you are getting rewards, and we have internal variable which is APR. I cannot find it right now, but it's inside. Set APR, yeah, it is here. So we have admin method with a modifier on the admin who is setting up the APR, and based on this APR, for any amounts deposited, for any amounts of token deposited, we have a fixed APR for user. Why it's important that here we have APR and how we can implement the strategy to magically bring it as an APU is that we have a fixed staking rate here, and our strategy can just automate the two operations. First operation is stake and harvest. So harvest is withdrawing the rewards, and the stake is increasing the amount of the token which is in the staking. So the compounding effect we can reach if we have a strategy which is using users' funds to stake them into the staking smart contract, and then after a certain time we are setting up as a strategist. We can set the interval when we are calling this approach, the method. We are harvesting rewards and then calls stake again. So basically, then you are implementing strategy. You have to just create the mock smart contract for staking. It's easy. You can add the mock smart contract here. Let me do it. Let me create. Okay, we have it here. We can create the contract staking. In the staking, we can see the main methods we have to use. We have to use again stake and harvest, right, and unstake. So and we have to map them into the our strategy methods. Like prepare to return means harvest, right? Sorry, have you lost? No? It's okay. So prepare return. We are calling harvest, right? Because harvest is basically the method of the DApp, which is sending back to the caller, which is sending back the rewards. And for another, we have adjust position and liquidate position. Of course, for the adjust position, what method we have to use? You know? Stake, yes. So basically, we are increasing the balance in the staking. And the last question is about the liquidate position. What do you think? How to map the liquidate position into the DApp contract? How to map one to another? Which approach we have? Which method we have to call? Unstake, yes. So easy, right? So our contract have to use the existing DApp interface, because we don't have to use even existing DApp for that. We can just mock the all functionality within the interface, within the fake harvest, fake unstake, and fake stake, and then we can write the strategy which is working with these approaches. And we don't have to use even a deployed DApp for that, because then you are deploying that and you are keeping the interfaces, you are keeping everything. It will be just automatically integrated and no side effects. Of course, there will be some issues with if you are writing the tests for exact for exact API, APU, like those type of things can be wrong. Then you are deploying on the mainnet or on the testnet as a part of the real environment. But you have to be sure on the mocked smart contract, on the mocked DApp, that your strategy is working as expected. And so here we have to create the smart contract, which is DApp. Let's call it DApp. Of course, we have to change it here. We are not inheriting anything. We can hard code anything here inside, and add all methods inside. We need basically we have to keep the signatures of the methods. Harvest is taking the Yearn 256, and unstake is getting the address. to whom to unstake, and yeah. So, guys, I'm already tired for a few hours. I hope you you understand the basic basic logic how to implement the contract. Basically, we have to implement the vault with the main approaches, with the main methods, like as we told before, approve and deposit and withdraw all and price per share. And after that, we have to map the you know the interface functions, the strategy interface functions, onto how we have to integrate. We have to communicate with the DApp, right? So we already saw the example within the staking contract. The staking has stake, unstake, and the harvest, and our contract is just the strategy which is mapping one to another, and some automatization functionality from the keeper oracles, because there is no way for smart contracts to be called by nobody. There should be some external entity who is calling the contract, of course paying some fees, but automating the operations. So guys, this is how strategies are writing. This is how we can start the development in DeFi, and this is how you can start making money, even with the building strategies. And this is a lot of ways of creativity, because as you can see, we have exponential explosion of exponential growth of different types of dApps, farming services, lending protocols, and I'm absolutely sure that anyone can find within a couple of hours the strategy which can be which will make sense to be implemented, and then suggested for the DAO proposal to be accepted and generate money. So thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask. Yes. Any other questions? Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, guys. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow will be interesting panel discussion.